Today's topic is very simple energy. I want dirt cheap energy. And I've been very clear about that with every single event that I've ever really done anywhere. So in my mind, it's very simple. I love and I grew up in a upright and good household, and I think that nuclear is the future. I know that's a wild thing to say these days, but maybe not. Nuclear is clean to left-leaning individuals, Democrats, whatever, right? Republicans typically have an issue with, wind and solar and all that stuff, right? In my mind, it's very easy. It's very unusual concept how Republicans seem to have fumbled this because these other forms of energy that Republicans typically don't like or distrust, and wind has different issues with the turbines taking out birds, for example. I don't want birds to die. I like animals and I just like them overall. I have my own animals, another story for another day. But at the end of the day, in my mind, Republicans playing stupid. There's an S word we could do that could equalize the playing field. See, it's called subsidies. Subsidies, whatever you call it, right? The thing about subsidies is that, Democrats traditionally support them. They give them out to, areas that they want to see developed. It's basically government given out, if you will. But if Republicans are serious about, hey, you know, wind, solar, these are non good forms of energy, well, we have to talk their game a little bit, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I'm suggesting Republicans get down with the idea of subsidizing nuclear power here in Wisconsin. Nuclear power, everybody might know, or maybe doesn't, ran Germany. They can support large populations, large centers, large areas. So my view is this: got a lot of space here in Wisconsin, and I don't really not really wanting the idea of shoving someone's backyard, but I think we could find an area where there aren't really people there per se. We could build something there, and all of a sudden we got really good paying jobs that are nuclear jobs, right? But at the end of the day, we are stupid to ignore the reality, and that is that wind, solar, the other forms, they are all subsidized by government and by Democrat policy. Republicans, I'll just say bluntly, I would subsidize nuclear power. I know it's a weird thing to say, but the reality is that I believe that whatever is the most best, energy source, if you will come out on top at the end of the day. And as a Republican person who grew up, if you will, right? And Republican voters know you can, easily make the case that nuclear is the best form of energy, is the safest, is the best, right? Now, going further with the nuclear element, what I don't want to do is build a bunch of, nuclear facilities and get that nuclear power going so it's dirt cheap here, right? And then find out that AI data centers and are using them on mass, right? So I think Tom's talked about this a little bit. I wanted to obviously go further. I don't think they should have any place in a society where, we are a rural state, we build things here, manufacturing, construction jobs go away. Don't talk about the Great Lakes. Don't talk about the farmland. Tom's now mentioned his ads, right? But at the end of the day, I don't want my dirt cheap energy. If we build multiple reactors, we get it all set up. No nuclear's here, baby. Dirt cheap energy, overflow the system. We should make energy be affordable, wonderful. This is the vision of what I have for the future of Wisconsin, right? But I don't want the data centers having it. No. Yeah, honestly, I don't like the fact that they're talking about raising energy costs and whatnot because the data centers have to take too large amount of energy because they're just churning, infinite number of chips and whatnot, right? So at the end of the day, you can think I'm stupid or whatever on the data center thing, but I don't want any of our energy in the state of Wisconsin going to their projects. If they must be here, and I've obviously talked about banning them, heavily regulating them, right? If they must be here, I do not want them on taking from the public energy grid. I want dirt cheap energy because I don't, B Energy probably wouldn't like me in that regard or any of these companies, right? But I want more sources of energy. I want to build it so we have so much energy here. Very unorthodox idea. Dirt cheap energy, in my mind, subsidize and nuclear so that it's an even playing field. Nuclear over time will basically destroy the competition. Then we have a bunch of nuclear plants that are just powering the state. So dirt cheap energy exists. So people have money in their pockets. And when you have money in your pocket, you can put that towards rent, towards being a home, towards building your future. I want a future where families can exist, where a woman can choose to stay home or go to work. I mean, it's not so easy these days. It is not that easy. It's almost implied. So you may think what you want. I think outside the box. I don't really care at the end of the day because I am one of you, one of people here in Wisconsin. But in my mind, I want dirt cheap energy. I'm not necessarily a fan of how we've done things. I think we can do things differently. And this is what I would do to get you dirt cheap energy, bring energy costs down, but it's time to make some changes. So, absolutely, I believe nuclear is the future, as many, right leaning households have learned growing up, if you will. But this is the way to fight fire with fire. This is the way, if you really don't like, infinite, solar panels in fields or wind turbines that kill birds or whatever, right? If you really don't like these other forms, the answer is obvious. We have to power nuclear. We have to spend some money. Oh, sorry. I know that's a little unusual, and usually Republicans and conservatives don't want to spend some money. We got to spend some money, build a future energy grid, if you will, build those nuclear reactors, and then we get dirt cheap energy. It'll take some time. It'll be an investment, absolutely. I mean, we have a surplus. It's just kind of sitting there right now these days. But at the end of the day, we should make it so life is more affordable, better for the average man and woman in Wisconsin.